Okay, welcome back. So this is the last type of problem you could see from chapter 2 on the final. If it gives you a graph and it wants you to determine whether it has an inverse, and if so, it will have you sketch the inverse. Okay, so I'm looking at number 6C, which is kind of a funky graph. Got kind of a straight line here and then kind of a circle thing here and then another circle, then a straight line. Okay, I've done my best graphing this to the best of my ability, but again, my pictures are not always the best. Anyway, so this is our graph. And so I want to know, is this function, does it have an inverse function? Okay, well, to tell how a graph is a function, right, is the vertical line test, right? Where we drop vertical lines down and see how many places it crosses, okay? That tells us if it's a function, okay? This is a function, right? Because it passes the vertical line test, but does it have an inverse function, okay? And to know that, we need to use the horizontal line test. So we're going to take horizontal lines and we're going to lay those down on our graph and see how many places it touches, right? Notice whenever you do a horizontal line, you're only touching once. And so this does have an inverse, okay? So we're going to sketch that inverse. The inverse is what happens where you switch x and y, okay? So like this point right here, we're at 0, 0, right? And so when I switch x and y, I'm still, when I switch 0 and 0, right? I'm at the point 0, 0. When I switch those 2 points around, they're the same, so I just get 0, 0 again, okay? What about here? Here I'm at 1, negative 1, right? 1, negative 1 is the point I'm at, so I'm going to switch x and y to get my new point. It will be at negative 1, positive 1, right? So I'll go negative 1, positive 1. Okay? So in other words, what's happening here is, and well, let's do another one just to see. Um, let's go to this point. We're at 3, negative 2. The point 3, negative 2 is where we're at. And so the inverse, what will happen is we just switch those coordinates. So I'm at negative 2 and then positive 3. We're up here. Okay, so you can kind of tell this point ends up over there, this point ends up over here. In other words, when you're graphing the inverse, you're reflecting it over this 45-degree line here, the line y equals x. Okay, that's what it's going to reflect over. So the other points are going to look similar, just reflected over. So it's going to be circular there, reflected over this line, kind of a mirror image on both sides. Okay. And then a straight line up to that line. Okay. So that's what we've got there. Now for the other part, we get a very similar thing here. We're going to have, well, the mirror image of this. So where do we end up here? This point here is at negative 2, positive 2. So negative 2, positive 2. The inverse, we just flip these around, right? So 2, negative 2. We're going to be at 2, negative 2. Puts us right there. So it's going to look, it's going to be a mirror image of this one. So reflected over, it's going to be like that. Okay. And then lastly, let's see, we need this point. So this point was at -4, +3. So we're going to end up at 3, -4. So 1, 2, 3, and then here. So this is F inverse, okay? This is F. Maybe I didn't draw this circle the best. I don't know. Anyway, so that's what your graph kind of looks like here. So you'll notice it's a mirror image over the line y equals x. And essentially how you get points is you can just switch the x and the y's, right? Those will give you the points for your inverse function, okay? So hopefully that helps with that. There's a few more example problems you can try. Remember, if you have something, when will it not have an inverse? Well, if you have something like this, or something where when you draw a horizontal line, you know you cross twice. This does not have an inverse. Okay, because it doesn't pass the horizontal line test, okay? But anything that passes the horizontal line test will have an inverse function, and you sketch it just kind of using that same method we just described, okay? So hopefully that helps. See you, I think that's it for chapter 2. So just make sure you feel comfortable with this material, and I will see you in the chapter 3 stuff.